Okay. Well, thank you guys for inviting me, and thanks Lori for thinking of me too. So I'm honored to be here tonight. I do live in Denver, so a lot of you are in Colorado. So feel like we're close, although I know we're far away. And I just would love to start by sharing my story, and then I'll get into a little bit about mindset. I was introduced to Juice Plus 6 years ago, and at that time we had just moved back to Colorado. We were living abroad in this little country called Georgia, if you know of it. It's near Armenia and Turkey. My husband had a great opportunity when my kids were 10 months and 2 to move us abroad, and there was a promise of a nanny on the other side, so I said yes. I was a burnt out, 2 kids under 2. I was just in that phase where you don't know what's going on in life, and I was just trying to manage a lot of things. And so I've always loved travel. So the idea of moving abroad seemed really great to me. And the fact that I would have someone to help me on the other side was amazing. So anyway, I had this amazing time in Georgia. I ended up opening up a yoga studio. I got yoga certified there, went to Malaysia, had a little bit more freedom in my life, came back to Denver and started back working as a physical therapist, which is what I'd been trained to do, and had been doing it for 15 years. And I went for my job interview for therapy. And I remember getting in the car and just tears came to my eyes. And my husband was like, you didn't get the job? Like, what's going on? I was like, no, I got the job. But it was that moment where I knew that I had outgrown something. And I don't know if you've felt that way, but I was in a place in my life where I just had this amazing overseas experience. I was just still high on life from that. And I was coming back to something. I felt like I was having to shrink to go back to what I was doing. And so I was just in a place for about a year and a half, like, what am I going to do? I can't keep doing this for the next 20, 30 years. It was pretty hard physical work, lifting people out of bed, helping them get to the bathroom, which is what I ended up doing in an acute care setting. Was every time they saw a physical therapist, they had to go to the bathroom. So that's what I did. A lot of my days was helping people get up and get moving, which was great. It was just really hard physically. So long story short, I thought I was maybe apply to Whole Foods, or I would go work at natural grocers, or anything sounded really good at the time. And so it was at this time where I was really looking for something that my husband actually went to a Tony Robbins course called Unleash the Power Within. And we got a free ticket. So he went first and I was going to go after. And he sat down in next to this woman from Germany who was a personal trainer. And she told him about Juice Plus. And I don't know, they must have exchanged numbers at some point, because a couple weeks later, he got a phone call from Cheryl Cortese. And, I had never heard of Juice Plus. I didn't know who he was talking to on the phone. And basically I was just pissed that he was interrupting our family vacation, talking to these women from Juice Plus, and hearing more about some Juice Plus thing. And I was like, get off the phone. Like, we had 2 little kids, we were on vacation. I'm like, who are you talking to? And so, I guess it just shows the power of a call, because from that call led to me getting on a phone call with Cheryl and Lauren Lahav. I was obviously looking for something enough and trusted my internal just instincts and intuition. And I said yes. I didn't Google. I didn't go and read a bunch of things. There are people, I'm just giving you hope. There are people out there like me that are looking, that aren't skeptical, that are ready to be invited into our amazing community, that are looking for fun, that are looking for community, they're looking for options. We just have to go find them, right? We just have to talk to more people. So I always think back to my story when I am, feeling like, oh, I'm not finding these people. They're out there. We just have to be brave enough to ask. So from there, I said yes. I signed up. I brought the products. I was a juicer, had been for years. So the idea of fruits and vegetables in the capsule made perfect sense to me, to get it into my kids. My husband was on board because he pretty much was let me kind of make the health decisions for the family along those lines. So he was like, sure, this sounds great. He started taking it every day. And that was in August of 2013. My sponsor, who happened to be this woman in Germany's sponsor, her name's Linda Evenden, and she's in Australia. So Linda and I had only talked once or twice on the phone. The woman from Germany ended up dropping out. I don't know what happened to her. So Linda gets me on the phone, and I don't remember exactly the context, but she told me about a conference. She's like, I'm coming to Orlando. It's a big deal. Will you come? And again, I just had to trust whatever, just I think partly desperation, just, someone inviting me to do something that sounded really cool. She offered to pay for my hotel room, and she said there'll be lots of, great people there. You'll learn a lot. You get to wear a dress, like bring a dress because there's some fancy thing. And she definitely checked the boxes again, like fun, community, interesting people, like that's what I was in for. So I booked my ticket to conference. I went by myself, so didn't know anyone else that was going. Could only talk to Linda like once or twice. And looking back, like that was a pretty brave step. But again, there are people out there that are hungry enough to want change, that they're willing to do this stuff. So I showed up. I was definitely like, what am I doing here? These people seem way too excited about this. So I kind of, I didn't arrive there and think, oh my God, I'm never leaving. Like I was definitely a bit skeptical. But I had fun, and I kept, had an open mind. And Lauren Lahav, I remember her taking me to one room. She knew that I just returned from an international trip. So I think she took me to the Canadian reception, and she took me to a couple different like international things. So she was listening and playing off of my cues. And really before I even left that conference, I was calling people, I was emailing. I sent out an email. You guys, I did everything wrong in the beginning. I sent out an email to every contact I had in Hotmail. And it was this super spammy, disgusting email. If I went back and read it, I would be horrified probably. It probably sounded like something, it was totally made up, but I did it because it was pure. It was purely from the heart, but it was like how excited I was and who wants to join me. And a couple friends actually said, like, I think you've been spammed, like something, we got this thing from you. I'm like, no, that's, I sent that. Out of that email, one person contacted me, a good friend, Kristen, who's still my first teammate today. She was a dietitian, and she was curious about what I was up to. So she said yes. And when you have that first person that says yes, it just fuels your fire, and you're like, okay, I can do this. Like, I went to my first couple conferences. She was supposed to come with me the next conference, couldn't come. I went by myself again. Third conference, went by myself again. Fourth conference, I finally had like a buddy or two. This conference, I have almost 40 people coming. So in 6 years, that's what can happen is, you can go, you're going to lead from the front at first. You're going to be your own, you've got to be your best customer, your best distributor, and keep having that in mind. So I share my story because it's not a straight up line at all. I went to VF, stalled it's at SC for a couple years, then moved to Uganda. And of all things, Uganda is where I decided to pick this business up again because one, I had help again. I had someone that was helping with the kids and with the house. And so I had time to really think about what are my next steps. So we moved to the capital city of Kampala. They don't ship Juice Plus there, just so you know. I couldn't sign up any Ugandans as teammates. So I had to really make a decision in Uganda. And really what it was, and I was thinking about this as I was sharing tonight, what it really was, and this is my first tip on mindset, is having vision. What it really was is Linda, I had a conversation with Linda. You know how sometimes just a 5-10 minute check-in with somebody, it just changes your perspective. And she said, I was stalling at SC. I was going to lose POB that month. And the next conference was coming up. And she's like, well, if you hit SSC, that's $1,000 bonus. And so in my mind, I'm thinking, $1,000 bonus, that would cover my airfare. And all I could think about, and again, it's so funny what you're drawn to, was me sitting on a plane by myself, flying through Europe. Like, that's all I wanted. I didn't like the vision of conference, the vision of like being on stage and getting recognized, or, having team like that all just dissolved. When you've lived in a third world country for a couple months, you're like, I just want my cappuccino and my wine and someone to serve me, and I'd get a good magazine. And, just that for me, just that little spark got me from SC to NMD in 2 years. It did. So and every time that little thing changed a bit, like that vision, but sharing that, I would ask you guys, make sure you have a compelling vision. And if you don't, do some digging. It's not, no one can find it for you. For me, it happened to be international travel by myself. Like that just turns me on. I love it. I love it with my family too, but something about like just being on my own. So once I kind of realized that I had a goal and I made the decision. So, they always say there's the day that you sign up your application, and then there's the day you decide to actually do this as a business. And if you haven't quite decided yet, you're in this, I call it no man's land, or it's like a really hard place to be, because you keep asking these questions that don't serve you, like, is this worth it? Or, am I ever, or, they're not quality questions. So once you actually decide, everything works in your favor to go in the direction you want to go. So that was really a decision I made on that phone call with Linda. The decision was, I'm going SSC, I'm getting on that plane, I'm ordering my free wine on United, and I'm bringing a couple teammates with me. So that happened within a couple months, and then from there, it was many decisions after that, many visions that I created for myself. The next vision was Juice Plus was opening in Dubai. Again, I knew my trigger was international travel. So I went, I brought a new teammate with me who lived in Uganda but was from the UK. I got her on board. She's like, yeah, Dubai sounds great. Come with us. So we went together, met Lauren there, got a few teammates in Dubai. That ended up being a strong SC leg for me to go NMD. Again, going to conference, creating that every 6 months. I got to fly home. I spent time with my mom, who, I just, as an adult, to spend time with your parent, that was amazing. We went shopping, and, I got to spend this whole like 2 weeks of time on my own. And again, some people do this to spend more time with their kids. I definitely do that, but I also do it to spend time doing the things that fill me up. And I think there has to be a balance. So, whatever it is that motivates you, I would say step it up a notch. If it's not getting you past your fears in this business, if it's not compelling you to work on your business every day, it's probably not the compelling vision that you need. And it can be something really silly, like my wine in freaking economy. It wasn't even business or first class, although that's my next vision for sure. So creating this vision for yourself, and the last vision I had was when I went NMD. I really wanted my story, I was still living in Uganda. I wanted my story to be, I hit NMD from Uganda. I did it in a third world country. I'm the only person I think that's done that. And I just thought, if I can have that story on the stage, my hope was to inspire other people. Like, you can do this. I don't care where you are, what resources you have, what background you're coming from, how much time you have. Yeah, I had a lot of things going for me, and that I had help. But I had a lot of things that were really, really hard. Having no teammates in my area, having to get up and go and get on phone calls at 4 a.m. for a team call. My team calls were 4 a.m. my time. So I would sleep in a downstairs bedroom, set my alarm clock, really be really quiet, lead a team phone call, and then go back to sleep for a little bit before my family woke up. So when the vision is compelling enough, the other part of my vision was, I knew that we'd be going back to the US, and I really didn't want to go back to that job that didn't serve me anymore, that I had outgrown. So once I knew NMD was on the horizon, I definitely let myself start thinking, okay, when we get back, this is going to be my full-time gig. And it completely has been. So the transition back to the US has happened over the last year. I haven't had to get a job. I have been there for my kids. Last summer was the summer we moved back was a huge transition for us. We were in rental houses, rental cars, different grandparents, and I was able to bring this business right with me. And in fact, it even grew during that time. So, I love that, that vision really helps in this business, and it's a must. So, I guess as you're coaching teammates too, don't be surprised if, the position doesn't give them, is not their vision, right? It's usually something that they have an emotional attachment to. So, we have something in our team called the game plan chat, where we ask them, what do they want more of? What do they see this business could be for them? And oftentimes it has nothing to do with the position, or even even, money. The way that I usually ask the question is, what would an extra $500 to $1,000 do for you? And then you get the real story. Then you get, oh, I'd see my husband more, or, my kids wouldn't have to go to after school care. They could go here, or, I could take myself, on a girls' weekend every couple of months, or, I could help my mom do this or that. So really getting into their why, and then just keeping that vision alive for them as their sponsor, and just keep putting it in front of them. And I think Lauren and Linda are so good at that. Next time you're going to be on that stage, next time you're going to be at that 39 Club retreat, get your bathing suit ready, da da da. So it's keep putting that in front of them, and know what motivates your team as well as yourself, because I know a lot of you are leaders. So it's not so much even more having that vision for yourself. A lot of you are probably rock solid in that, but helping your team eke out that vision. And again, those first couple months, they may have no idea. So this is something you constantly have to revisit with them. And Lauren's question has always been, what if? And we hear that a lot. What if you could get to SSC and come to conference? My God, what if I could? What if you could, da da da? And then you're just planting that seed for them. And people just want to be, they want people to see them, right? Everyone's walking around with this imaginary sign that says, see me, see me, see my heart, see that I'm important. So if we can help do that, I think our business is so rare that we get to do that every day, all day. So if we can provide that gift to our teammates, and really see them and listen to them and hold that vision, that's what I love doing. So yeah, this talk is on mindset, but I had to weave my story in there as Lori asked, and I think it hits on a lot of the points. And the first one I want to say about mindset is, obviously having that vision. Things that I personally do and have done for years, again, sometimes more consistent than others, but I always make a vision board in January. Sometimes it's the beginning of January, sometimes by the end, but I want a fresh start. I want new pictures. I don't judge myself on if everything happened last year. For me, it's not so much the timeline as it is that feeling that I have when I look at this, right? So sometimes I'm really specific about the things I cut out, and sometimes it's more just a gut feeling as I'm going through the magazine. You can Google vision boards and whatever, but I really encourage you to have something in pictures, because that's the way our subconscious brain thinks, that you can look at every day that's going to pull you forward. Okay, so on my vision board this year is a lot of women and having fun and yoga retreats and growth, and a whole part on finances. Lots of women with money, and Oprah's on there, and I'm just really manifesting the next level of abundance in my life. And so that I want front and center, and I don't want that to be, I think oftentimes we kind of like put that in a little tiny corner, like, oh yeah, it'd be nice to make some money on this too. No, I want that like out more front and center. Meditating, I do have a meditation practice. It's not as consistent as I would like, but it's there. I've started meditating, listening to a guy named Joe Dispenza. You can look him up, but he has a book called Breaking the Habit of Being Yourself. I haven't read that book, but I want to. But I do his evening meditation, and I just listen to it before I go to bed. And then there's a morning one as well. And what he's doing is helping to create the waves in your brain so that you kind of reprogram your whole self. And so Shani Thompson, who's like the fastest grower in Australia, this is what she did to reach 100 Club. And I thought, well, if Shani does it, why not? I'm going to do it. So, you follow success, right? So 20 minutes twice a day, and you just reprogram, you envision. So what I'm envisioning now is not so much my success, is I'm envisioning myself on stage with my first NMD. I'm envisioning giving her the flowers. I'm envisioning the feeling I'm going to have when she's up front speaking. And I go through each of my leaders and just envision them on stage, envision them speaking. And so again, that vision has changed for me. Now I want to be a leader of leaders. I just don't, it's gone beyond wine and economy, although that's always a compelling vision for me. But having them be in the front and center and sharing and seeing their success is what's driving me now. And then also in your vision, you really have to think about what you're saying to people. How are you talking to people? What are you manifesting by what you're saying? Language is so, so important. So, an example I was thinking of today is, this is from a while ago, but John and I, after we got married, we decided that we bought a house, had stable jobs, and we just, about 6 months into it, we're like, this is kind of boring. Like this whole, having jobs and having a mortgage. So we started manifesting going to Africa. He'd been a Peace Corps volunteer. So we started telling people, kind of small at first, we're like, we're going to go to Africa. And we didn't have any plans of this. We just started telling people. And then the more we said it, the more we got excited. The more people started asking us, we came up with more concrete ways that we were going to go. And so it was that back and forth using that language and telling people about it that got us excited and then helped us create that vision. And so we ended up quitting our jobs, renting out our house, going to South Africa and Kenya for 4 months, and then came back and had another 2 months without our jobs. So again, that's just one example of how when you start sharing, I'm going to do this. You don't have to say, exactly when. Saying when is always great too. The universe is going to give you back what you say. But telling people, again, choose your people wisely. You want to choose, your handful of people that are supportive of your dreams and your goals, but start sharing with them in the present tense. I will do this, or I am going to do this, or I have, I've done it already. Act as if it's done. So I really would encourage you to start thinking of your language, not I might, or I don't know if it's, if it's convenient, or maybe. Like those are such wishy-washy words. So being more direct with yourself and with others, what's going to happen, because people follow confidence. And so when you have that confidence, people will definitely follow that and have that. So when you can change into have more confident language, is great. Okay, secondly, second mindset tip I would have is, and this is something I think we all have to work on from the moment we realize that we have them, is getting rid of limiting beliefs. And I know you've probably had a lot of, if you're been part of our company at all, that, we all have the same products. We all have the same marketing plan. We all have the same potential. It's really what holds us back are sometimes these limiting beliefs or our mindset. We're too old. We're too young. We're not good at this. We're not good at that. We're not good at sharing. So, I would encourage you to ask yourself, what's holding you back? What are your limiting beliefs? And once you shine the light on them, your brain is just going to try and keep you safe. That's what its job is. So once you kind of shine the light on the limiting belief, you actually have some control over it, and you can decide to change it. So does anyone, we can make this interactive. Does anyone have a limiting belief that they know is kind of keeps bugging them? And come off mute.
I'll speak up on that. I have had an anniversary this year of being a sales coordinator for 10 years. And so probably my limiting belief is I'm going to stay a sales coordinator forever.
Yeah. Yeah. And how's that feeling for you?
Oh, it's so frustrating.
You're over it. I can tell you're over it.
I am.
Yeah.
Yep. Uh-huh.
Yeah. And so, so having that belief, I'm going to be a sales coordinator, but I think the fact that you're laughing and there's some brevity around it, it's like you sort of believe it, but you know that that's not the truth.
Right. Because I wasn't laughing about it 2 years ago. That's for sure.
Right.
Yeah. Right. But I feel it. There's just been a shift, and
okay.
I can't quite put my finger. Well, part of it is that I have some fabulous team that's starting to build, and that's exciting. And conference, I started this business I started the business part in 2006. So I can't tell you how many conferences I've been to. It's been a lot. This is the first conference I'm going to with team. So that's super exciting. And and I've always had a strong vision, but a lot happening that kind of has gotten in the way, and I've allowed to get in the way, and there's no time for it anymore. Yeah,
you're done. I can tell. You're just like, I'm done with this story, right? Like that's a story. Have you done Brene Brown's program with
Yes.
Okay, great.
I've done
So what's a more empowering belief? What do you want, what have you changed it to?
Oh, that well, okay, so here's the thing. My youngest daughter just started college this semester and she's out of state. She's in California. And so she I mean, I've got to get, and it's just impossible to try to pay tuition, and her Thanksgiving plane ticket home I just bought last night was $1,000.
Wow.
Yeah, it's nuts.
So
And
so what's your new belief?
so my new belief is I gotta get to NMD to get help with this.
So that's not a belief. That's
That's
a vision potentially. But what's your belief? What's your belief about you?
Oh, that I'm making this happen. That this
I'm
is
making this happen.
Yeah. That's the belief. I can.
Okay.
Yeah, I know that this is happening.
This is
with
happening.
momentum that wasn't there before.
Okay. Okay. So this is happening. And what you want to do is so Tony Robbins talks about the triad of language and of emotion. So the triad, if you guys want to write this down, is focus, language, and I just have it written down. Focus, language, and physiology. Okay. So your language, you've changed your language. You want to change all three. Okay. You want to change all three. So limiting belief is changing the language. So what did you say? I have this, or I'm doing this.
Happening. This
is happening. This is happening. Okay, so when you say that, you've also got to have a physiology change in yourself. So for me, I just did this when you said that. So I don't know what it's going to be for you. Okay. It could be stomping your foot. It could be, this is happening. Like, this is happening. Like, you've got to put it in your body as well as in the words. Because right now I'm glad that you're kind of laughing, but I think it's also sending mixed messages a little bit because the brain's like, okay, what's going on? So having something that's like solid in the body, I think you're going to have to try it on. I'm not sure what it's going to be. For me, it was, I got this. So my mantra was, I got this. And so whenever I was running, I would say it out loud. Whenever I was in the shower, I would say it out loud. What I got, I didn't even know. Like, it wasn't even that. It was the feeling that this was done. Okay. So I encourage you to work on the physiology, the language, and then the focus. So this is happening. So, where are you focusing? You're focusing on the things that are happening. You're not focusing on all the other stuff that's not happening. So go where the energy is, I would say, whether that's, don't try to micromanage your team, keep building, building out wide, but while you've got momentum and energy, do not put this down. Okay. So keep, this is happening, and this is happening means you've got to get up every day and decide it's happening. You can't wait for someone else to make it happen. And maybe that's the shift that's happened is, that you've attracted more people because you've had a little bit of this is happening, and people are like, oh, it's happening. We better go, instead of waiting around. So you've got to keep that, especially going into conference and having some new people. They're going to sense your confidence, and this is happening. So let go of the past 10 years. This is a brand new era. This is a new day. This was all training. Don't, let go of it in the sense that, you've learned all the lessons now. And now it's time to go make some money and get your your daughter home from college and tell a lot of people this is happening, and when you have that confidence, it will just keep attracting more confidence around you. And people want to follow this is happening, right? Like, that's something I want to follow. So so limiting beliefs, I mean, you guys saw what we did there. It's just like, you've got to know what's limiting you, and then the belief is, I got this is happening. I'm creating money. I'm a money magnet. I will show you, like, these are just some of this is, I don't even know how old this is, but I've carried it around for years. It says, I'm a money magnet. Money flows to me easily. And I just keep it with me. And it's just, it may be, sometimes it's on my desk. Sometimes it's a bookmark. I'm attracting fun, energetic, and entrepreneurial women who want to say yes to more. They are ready to have a bigger impact, leave a legacy, and help others shine. Now, this I feel like maybe is a little long for me to just, oh yeah, great TED Talk. Yes, I love that one, Janelle. my ideal team mentor. So I'm just telling you, I have books, written that I've written in with limiting beliefs and trying to break them. It's not going to happen overnight. But the more you can be in charge of your brain and what it's doing, the more you're going to give yourself a better shot of just of breaking anything that's come along before that. So and be good at listening to teammates, because they're going to come with all kinds of limiting beliefs, right? And just like, what's another way you could think of that? What's another way to frame that? So I think limiting beliefs are fun to play with. If you're able to shine that spotlight, you can move them around a bit and play with them. But something as simple as getting new teammates is what? Getting new teammates is hard. Getting new teammates is easy. Finding teammates is, they're everywhere. They're nowhere. Like, what is your belief around getting teammates? What's your belief about the investment of conference? Is it worth it? Is it not worth it? Is it you're going into debt because you're going to conference? Is it, what's your belief around investing back into your own business? Because for the first 5 years, a couple years, I invested almost everything because I could at that time. This extra $100 or $200, I was reinvesting in my business. And now the company gives me money that I can reinvest in my team as in the form of BIB. But if you're a new business owner, you're not reinvesting into yourself and in your business every month, it's really hard to grow. And we have a business where we get profit from the day one, right? We don't have these big loans we've taken out. So I think helping your team with that mindset shift that, this does take an investment. What if this was $1 million business? How would you treat it? So kind of got off topic there. But the other thing I want to talk about is just inspiring yourself. I think this is when I look back over the last, my journey, someone told me the other day in our business, we have to make our own phone ring, right? We have to create the energy. We have to create the momentum. Like, as much as we want our phone to ring all day, every day, it's probably not going to. That's up to us. And so the best way that I know to make my own phone ring is to be in state, is to be excited, is to do things that are in alignment with who I am as a person, who get me out of bed in the morning. They may not necessarily completely lead to Juice Plus right away, but I know that they're going to lead me to good people, and we're in the relationship business, and that's going to lead me to a stronger team. So, an example, I'm feeling like I want to be more grounded in Denver after being here a year. So with things that I'm doing to inspire myself right now, and this may help you think of some things, is I asked if I could volunteer to be a yoga teacher for the kids' school for the teachers 1 day a week. I wasn't ready to take on a full class, but I thought, I want to be at the school. I want to give back. I want to get to know the teachers. So how else can I do that, right? So inspiring myself that way. Setting up a tower garden in my son's 3rd grade classroom is a good one. We got a new cookbook. So working through a new cookbook and sharing some of those recipes online. Maybe it's for you running a race, or maybe it's, signing up for a new class or a new club. I joined a new book club with some ladies. Again, new environment, new people. So if you're not inspiring yourself right now, no one else is going to probably be inspired to join you. And it's something you constantly have to work on. So Lori, I know we're almost out of time, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
No, this is fantastic. I mean, everything that you've said, we are a very conscious team, and we talk about these things a lot. So it's so valuable for you to be here and to just, talk about this the way that it's been in your journey as well. And so appreciated. And this particular Monday, the first Monday of every month, is like a marathon Monday. Like, we have 3
Yes.
calls that we do. So yeah, I like to just kind of keep everybody on,
Absolutely. Well, I wish you guys the best of luck. If you see me in Austin, stop me and say hi. I will be there, and can't wait to hear your stories and what you take away. So
Amanda,
thanks for having me.
so much. Yeah.
Thank you, Amanda. It's good to see your face.
You're welcome.
Yeah, and
Good to see you guys. Have a good Monday.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Bye.
I'll see you at the big show.
After all these calls, I get really.
I know, right? That it's hard to go.
Myself, and I'm like,
I block in my power hour after all of these calls.
totally, yes.
Yeah, exactly.
Thank you all. Thank you, Amanda.
Thank
Sure.
you.
Take care.
Yeah.
Bye.
Thanks. Have a great evening.
Bye. Yeah, have a great night.